start right here. As the storm approaches, this storm here is spiritual storm. A large class. Okay, I cannot see this place. I cannot move it. Let me see. It's not moving. Oops. Okay. A large class who have professed in faith in the third message, but have not been sanctified through the truth, abandon their position and take refuge under the banner of the powers of darkness. So here, people who are not settled into the truth will happen. They're going to abandon their position. And what are they going to do afterwards? By uniting with the world and partaking of its spirit, they come to view matters in nearly the same light. And when the test, so here this is being done before Sunday law. When the test or Sunday law is brought, they are prepared to choose the easy and popular side. Men of talent and pleasing address who once rejoiced in the truth employ their powers to deceive and mislead soul. They become the most bitter enemies of their former brethren. Why? Because they will be the one who will persecute their brethren. When Sabbath keepers are brought before the courts to answer for their faith, these apostates are the most efficient agents of Satan to misrepresent and accuse them, and by the false report and insinuation to stir up the rulers against them. So here, what? They will be the false witnesses against their former brethren. Great controversy, 602, paragraph 1. When the testing time shall come, those who have been made God's word their rule of life will be revealed. So right now, it's still summertime. So wintertime comes, that's when the test comes. That's when we will know who is on the Lord's side. In the summer, there is no noticeable difference between evergreen and other trees. But the blast of winter comes, the evergreens remain unchanged, while other trees are stripped of their foliage. So the false-hearted professor may not now be distinguished from the real Christian, but the time is just upon us when the difference will be apparent. Let opposition arise. Let bigotry and intolerance bear sway. Let persecution be kindled, and the half-hearted, who are these half-hearted? Laodiceans. Okay, hypocritical. It's just like the Pharisees will waver and yield the faith, but the true Christian will stand firm as a rock. His faith stronger, his hope brighter than in the days of prosperity. Just like Daniel, they were able to withstand. Okay? And the Christ Object Lessons, page 412, paragraph 1, it is in a crisis that character is being revealed. So there's no crisis right now, so we do not know who is on the Lord's side yet, But when the crisis comes, that's when our characters will be revealed. And what will happen to those people who will give up Sabbath? Okay, early writings, page 36, paragraph 2. I was shown a company who were howling in agony. On their garments was written in large character, "Thou art weighed in the balance and found wanting." I asked this company who this company were. The angel said, "These are they who have once kept the Sabbath and have given it up." That's very sad. And I hear them cry with a loud voice, "We have believed in thy coming and taught it with energy." And while they were speaking, their eyes would fall upon their garments and see the writings, and then they would wail aloud. Now, who are these people? Let's be more specific. Who are these people who will give up the Sabbath? Okay, and who will encourage people to keep the Sabbath or to deceive other people? Okay, Review and Herald, March 18, 1884, paragraph 8. The Lord has a controversy with his professed people in these last days. Who is the professed people of God in these last days? The Seventh-day Adventists. In this controversy, men in responsible position will take a course directly opposite that pursued by Nehemiah. As we know, the Bible says that Nehemiah was a Sabbath reformer, but these here men in responsible position will take the opposite, meaning to say they will not keep the Sabbath, they will give it up. They will not only ignore and despise the Sabbath themselves, but will try to keep it from others by burying it beneath the rubbish of custom and tradition. In churches, in large gathering, in open air, minister will urge upon the people the necessity of keeping the first day of the week. So here, while they were preaching, they will now change their position. They will flip. So, but there will be people who will be left. That's the reason why Revelation chapter 12, verse 17 says, the remnant of her seed, because the remnant declare the Seventh-day Adventists always claims to be the remnant, but they will not endure, only the remnant of her seed. There are calamities in the sea, in the land, and these calamities will increase, one disaster following close upon another. And this little band of company, the remnant of her seed, conscientious Sabbath keeper, will be pointed out as the ones who are bringing the wrath of God upon the world by their disregard of Sunday. Another quotation, this is from Signs of the Times, similar to Review and Herald, January 17, 1884, paragraph 12. Men in responsible position, or the leadership, General Conference, will not only ignore and despise the Sabbath themselves, but from the sacred desk will urge upon the people the observance of the first day of the week. Pleading tradition. Remember that just like the Roman Catholic Church, they practice they keep tradition and custom on behalf of man-made institution. They will point the calamities in the land and the sea to the storms of wind, the floods, the earthquake, the destruction by fire as judgment, indicating God's displeasure because Sunday is not sacredly observed. So these people here, we do not know who they are, but they're there. I mean, they're probably just there to infiltrate. These calamities will increase more and more. One disaster will follow close upon the heels of another. This is what happened. We just have a storm here in Florida. There's not a storm in Philippines, and disaster, natural calamities. And those who make void the law of God will be pointed to the few who are keeping the Sabbath of the fourth commandment as the ones who are bringing wrath upon the world. So here is the remnant of her seed who keep the commands of God. They remain faithful during the storm. Now, Sister White in 1903 has received a prophecy, regarding what's going to happen to the General Conference or the leadership. Okay, it says here in letter 242, 1903, paragraph 13, the enemy of soul has sought to bring supposition that a great reformation was to take place among the Seventh-day Adventists. Is this a reformation for revival? No, it's from bad to worse. And that this reformation would consist of giving up the doctrines which stands as the pillars of our faith and engaging in proper process of reorganization. Remember, in 1901, Sister White was telling the General Conference that they have a hierarchical organization. They need to get rid of it because that's not the way the Lord wants them to do. But they try to give up some of it. But now Sister White was shown that they are going to build up a more hierarchical organization. Where this reformation to take place, what would result? The principles of truth that God, in His wisdom, has given to the remnant church would be discarded. So the 7 pillars of our faith, all gone. Our religion would be changed. The fundamental principles that have sustained the work for the last 50 years would be accounted error. A new organization would be established, meaning to say, more hierarchical organization. Of new books of the new order will be written. So we will have the 28 fundamental doctrines. They will have the church manual. They will not believe only on the Bible and spirit prophecy. A system of intellectual philosophy would be introduced. The founders of the system would go into the cities and do wonderful work. The Sabbath, of course, will be lightly regarded as also the God who created it. So they probably would give up Sabbath and change it to Sunday. Nothing would be allowed to stand in the way of the new movement. The leaders would teach that virtue is better than vice, but God being removed, they would place their dependence upon human power. Whose human power? The Pope, which without God is worthless. Their foundation, this is now foundation literal and spiritual. Their foundation, hierarchical organization, would be built in sand or spiritual. Their doctrine will be based on human sayings. It's not built on they say, that's it, the Lord, and storm and tempest would swept away the structure. That's why in 1905, here in manuscript 159, 1905, paragraph 6, Sister White says, we cannot now enter into new organization, for this would mean apostasy, because they were planning to have a more hierarchical organization. It is totally proper, to have an organization, church organization, patterned after the New Testament, where we have elders and deacons just for missionary purposes. But this hierarchical organization, this is not for missionary purposes. This is for control. And on top, where the president sits, he has the power like a king, and he sits there as a dictator. Okay, now here again, in manuscript 15, 1850, paragraph 6, I saw that the nominal church, Protestant, Sunday keeping, nominal Adventists who now give up the Sabbath, like Judas would betray us to the Catholic to obtain their influence to come against the truth. The saints will then be an obscure people, little known to the Catholics. But the churches and nominal Adventists who know of our faith and custom, because they were former brethren, for they hated us on account of the Sabbath because they gave it up, for they could not refute it, will betray the saints and report them to the Catholic as those who disregard the institution of the people, that is, that they keep the Sabbath and disregard Sunday. Sister White wrote in early writings, page 7, paragraph 2, the group that survived became the Advent Christian Church, such as identified in this book as the First-day Adventists or nominal Adventists. So during the time of Sister White, there were Adventists, people who keep Sunday, but they expect Jesus also to come. And I was talking to one of the Adventists who came to our house. They were arguing with me. They said that, the nominal Adventists, I was reading this quotation to them, that the nominal Adventists are Sunday keepers during Sister White. And I was trying to tell them this is not the nominal Adventists during Sister White time, because this is still future. It has not happened yet. But, this is what's going to happen to the Adventists, because the religious leaders, they will give up Sabbath and keep Sunday, so they will become nominal Adventists just like the First-day Adventists. Okay, in early writings, page 15, paragraph 1, the 144,000 were all seated and perfectly united. On their forehead was written, God, New Jerusalem, and a glorious star containing Jesus' new name. At our happy and holy state, the wicked, who are these wicked? Those people who give up the Sabbath were enraged and would rush violently up to lay hands on us to thrust us into prison. So those people who gave up the Sabbath will be the one who will persecute their former brethren. When we would stretch forth the hand in the name of the Lord, they would fall helpless to the ground, but they cannot touch the people of God at this time, because God's people are then be protected. Just like during the time of Rehoboam, there was a prophet sent by God from Judah to condemn him.